this presentation is based on my book, Mazaar Bazaar, Design and Visual Culture in Pakistan, which was recently edited, and I will be concentrating on some of the essays and the contributions in it. To clarify a couple of terms, visual culture is popular mass culture and ancient and contemporary art and architecture. And design is broadly interpreted as communication via image and typography, which is actually text. This presentation focuses on pluralism, evident in everyday imagery and iconography around us, as well as the construct of an identity for Pakistan. Now, we have read the name Jhule Lal on the back of, public transport in red, and actually, that comes as no surprise because he is, after all, the patron saint of travelers. And he's usually depicted, as in this poster, as a white bearded man traveling over water with a vehicle as his fish. But this poster is very potent in religious symbolism. For example, the Kaaba and the Masjid-e-Nabawi and the Quran on the Rahel, obviously Islamic, then the lotus, Buddhism, Hinduism, fish, Christianity, the halo, which is something which is across the board and in many religions. But I would really like to draw your attention to the glow that surrounds that halo, which is the concept of light, and nur, as we refer to it in Islam. Also, it appears to be a poster which was originally Hindu. As you can see, right underneath the Kaaba, there is a temple. And of course, it's also very rich primarily with Hindu iconography. Now, image that you're very, very familiar with, you see it in the back of trucks, and with the obvious reference to speed. And as you know, the Buraq is a heavenly steed, white in color, which traverses the sky at the speed of light. Now this creature has evolved into a very, very grandiose and fantastic image. For example, the gorgeous colored, vibrant gola ganda of colors that you see on the wings. Then on top of that, you've got the face of a woman, very bride-like, with the jewelry. And notice the henna painted hooves. So what is the artist up to? By this ornamentation, beautification, he is giving a form of, offering a form of adoration and adulation to this sacred creature. Now, painting by Anwar Saeed, and he's exercising his artistic license in giving you a very different version of the Buraq. Now, in these three previous slides that you've looked at, we are discussing the theme of journey as well as travel. And this may not particularly be physical, but also spiritual, with the ultimate aim of gaining knowledge as well as self-awareness. Right, but now we're still not done with the theme of journey, or for that matter, fantasy. You see here a backdrop from the 1960s, and the photographer used these as a way to transport the client into a world of fantasy. You see a grand mansion, lush gardens, you see the gurgling fountain, and even angels greeting you at the base of the steps. So in short, you're entering paradise on earth. And now we come to a portrait, painted in the 1960s for the Tibet Snow calendar. Now, what I find about this is that it's an epitome of what is the subcontinental feminine beauty, that concept of it. And it also signifies innocence, purity, and romance. And now we come to the Tibet talcum powder packaging itself. A demure woman looks over her shoulder, and from within a frame of chrysanthemums and rangoon creepers. And interestingly, this is a product from 1951, and it continues to be popular. They have not changed it. And that could be because of the elements of nostalgia, as well as old world charm. And as Durya Kazi states that it is very reassuring in a world of change. Yet another product, Ruh Afza. You know, Ramzan is right round the corner. And the label for which has not, was actually designed a century ago. And again, very, very popular. And it stood the test of time and epitomizes tradition. And as the author, Zarmini Ansari, points out, that it signifies home for the Pakistani diaspora. And I would like you to especially note the flowers that are surrounding the fruit. But we are not done with flowers yet. You see flowers, roses actually, on the taj or the crown of the truck, which is of course popular culture. And then you've got Aisha Khalid's painting on the right, which is a frame of roses. Now, when you start observing both these genres, you realize that there is a similarity in iconography, by and large. You see landscapes, portraits, you look at animals, birds, peacocks, and even missiles. And this explanation for that is very simple. We live in the same environment and, therefore, share the same hopes and dreams. And to a miniature 5 centuries back. And I really love this image. And this is the fabled romance of Shirin and Farhad. And you see Shirin on the right sitting on that pink horse. And she was an Eastern European princess, presumed to be Christian. And on the left, you've got Khusro, her first love. And he was a Persian prince and considered to be Zoroastrian. And this epic has been written by an Iranian painter by the name of Nizami, and who was ethnically Turkish. And then it gets even more fascinating, because Indian and Iranian painters are the ones who painted this, both Muslims as well as Hindus, and in the Kutub Khana of the Mughal Emperor Akbar. So, a phenomenal example of creativity brought together by a heterogeneous people, countries, cultures, and religions. And an even more miniature size. A matchbox label from pre-partition. It's actually between 1925 and 1935. And you see an amalgam of Hindu-Muslim, Swadeshi, Crescent, struggling for a common cause, which was freedom. And thus, you can see that even this small little platform of retail packaging becomes a sort of a disseminator for social change. Crucial visual in the history of the subcontinent. A confluence of 3 identities on a currency note in 1947. And you see the British on the right, you've got King George VI, you've got the Reserve Bank of India, and the note was being issued in Karachi. And then a little government of Pakistan, Hukumat-e Pakistan, overprinted on the left. And the icons of a new nation, the Chand and the Tara, being propagated via state-generated postage stamps. So what we've learned by looking at these images is that we are a very pluralistic society. inclusive society, which was based in the region which is now Pakistan. Also, that the visual culture has evolved through centuries of exchange with diverse civilizations. And that celebration of diversity allows for coexistence of contradictions. Tradition, modernity, realism, fantasy, spiritual, material. And in the end, these images from Pakistan, they reveal who we are, who we have been, and demand greater unity, not less. Thank you.